Hey guys, this is Luminous, and you're watching Guide on Ancient Apparition. Ancient Apparition, or AA, is a ranged intelligence hero that excels in providing disable and utility spells from afar. Unlike most other spellcasters in the game, AA's spellcasting only truly shines when he has a proper setup from his teammates. Coupled with AA's low health and restricted mana pool, he's one of the more difficult heroes to play well. Successful AA plays require good map awareness, a thorough understanding of heroes, and most important of all, good communication with allies. Cold Feet is quite a unique ability in dealing damage and stun. Upon casting Cold Feet, the enemy has 4 seconds to get out of the 740 AoE. If not, the enemy will take a total of 300 damage and a 3.5 second stun. However, Cold Feet will be dispelled completely if enemy leaves the 740 AoE. As you can see, having other slows and disable keeps enemy locked down, gives AA and his lane partner a lot of killing power. Assuming the normal 300 base movement speed, Cold Feet plus powerful stuns like Stormhammer or great slows such as Open Wounds will be enough to freeze enemies. Casting Cold Feet before your ally setup disable is actually preferred, since 4 seconds is a lot of time for enemies to run, even against most slows and stuns. Of course, enemies running from Cold Feet isn't necessarily a bad thing either. Cold Feet is a great harassment spell to zone enemies out of the lane, especially when creeps are about to be last hitted or denied. With enough mana regeneration to support the Cold Feet spam, AA could hold down the mid lane easily against most other heroes. A great follow-up stun or back the up harassment tool, Cold Feet is a dominant spell in the early laning stage of the game. Though the 30% slow and the 25% magic resist reduction isn't particularly impressive, the 1500 cast range and 6 second cooldown of Ice Vortex makes this utility spell ridiculous. The large cast range allows AA to stay out of harm's way or helps teammate to catch up on fleeting heroes. Furthermore, since Ice Vortex gives sight in the small AoE, it's a great scouting tool for pushes, ganks, or even warding or de-warding up ramps. If AA spawn pool allows it, spam it especially during tower defenses and teamfights, as the slow is not only a great annoyance for most enemies, the magic resist reduction matters greatly for your allies. Ice Vortex gives a little of everything, making it a good utility spell to have for the team. Chilling Touch adds bonus magical damage per physical attacks to allies in the AoE at an insignificant cost of 15% attack speed. The extra damage from Chilling Touch is its own instances of damage. This means that when hitting Refraction or Living Armor, units take off 2 charges per hit. This also means Chilling Touch has 0 interaction with things like cleave or crits. Besides all the mechanic nuances, just remember that Chilling Touch adds a huge chunk of damage output, provided the enemy is locked down to receive the damage. The damage output of Chilling Touch on 2 heroes' physical attacks is equivalent to that of extra heroes or several creeps, so don't underestimate the spell or skip it completely. Again, Chilling Touch will be another spell that drains heavily at AA's mana pool, but the extra damage it provides is too good to pass up. Ice Blast is a global spell that deals decent amount of damage, and its AoE increases as it travels from AA. The utility that Ice Blast grants to the team is immense. Firstly, being a global spell, it could be aimed as a powerful nuke to aid team fights or ganks going on elsewhere, or used to snipe off retreating heroes. It also doubles as a counter pushing and farming tool, providing the team's carries are not available to clear the creeps. Perhaps the most important thing is the fact that Ice Blast also prevents enemy from having higher HP than the current health values. This means that it shuts down anything ranging from Mech's Heal, Armlet Toggles, or even certain heroes like Morphling's Morph or Alchemist's Chemical Rage regen. The large burst damage and the damage over time of Ice Blast is already very respectable, but the insta kill of Ice Blast when enemies falls below 12% health makes this ultimate one of the best ultimates in the game. The cooldown and mana cost of Ice Blast is low enough to use it frequently as a counter pushing or ganking tool, but make sure it's available for every team fight, as the damage and debuff it provides is absolutely invaluable for the team. Counter push, sniper, teamfight initiator, and a kill spell, Ice Blast has an application in almost every situation. With this in mind, a suggested skill build for AA is: there's little debates in prioritizing Cold Feet first. No matter the lane and the role of AA, Cold Feet is his best laning and damaging spell, and has the highest potential out of all his other spells to set up kills. What becomes fuzzy is which of the other spells to take after. The highest damaging spell is definitely Chilling Touch, and should be heavily considered if the extra damage can be dished out against a stationary enemy. This means that Cold Feet plus another spell has successfully chain disabled the enemy long enough for multiple physical attacks to go off. If AA's partner cannot provide a powerful enough slow or stun, or if AA is slow low laning, Chilling Touch simply costs too much mana and provides too little in return to be considered. Ice Vortex is the safest choice, since it always provides slow and magic resist reduction, which aids in Cold Feet and any other nuke, considerably raising everybody's spell's efficiency in lane. Because of the utility that Ice Vortex provides, it's almost always the second spell AA wants to max, thus taking it early at level 2 and 4 doesn't really hurt. Keep in mind that every Ice Vortex or Chilling Touch that AA is casting is 1 less Cold Feet, and thus in situations where the two supportive spells aren't too effective, taking stat points might be the best option. Mentioned multiple times so far, AA definitely has mana and HP issues throughout the game, and even the tiniest bit of survivability can matter in many situations. Solo mid AA generally takes stats over his other two spells, since the extra mana to spam Cold Feet is a very good way to dominate the mid lane. Starting from level 8, prioritizing on Ice Vortex and tick Ice Blast whenever possible. The decision to max Chilling Touch or even take any points into it completely depends on team's composition. The damage output provided by Chilling Touch is quite comparable to tier 4 items, especially if AA could buff several allies at once. For most team compositions, keep in mind that there are many physical attacks in between spell casting, which means that many heroes could take advantage of Chilling Touch. Of course, should a team be too spread out in team fights, or simply doesn't need Chilling Touch for the extra damage, giving it up in exchange for more stat points is also viable. Lastly, be careful of Chilling Touch's minus 15% attack speed on allies. In most cases, the negative buff won't affect too much. However, in the cases of enemy teams containing attack speed decreasing skills or items, such as Thunderclap, Untouchable, or Shiva's Guard, Chilling Touch might not be the best spell to invest in. Depending on the lane and role that AA is in, he will have different amount of levels and items throughout the game. However, at core, AA is slow, frail, and lacks an inherent escape spell, and coupled with his Ice Blast, AA not only needs to stay far back in fights, he wants to stay back. The range of Cold Feet and Chilling Touch is respectable, the range of Ice Vortex is massive, and of course, Ice Blast's range is as far as you want it to be. A backline caster is a good way to imagine AA's playstyle throughout most of the game, and a lot of his successes is dependent on proper positioning and utilizing the range of his spells. Should AA find himself out of position or being dove upon, unload everything he's got before dying. Though not exactly a burst nuker like Lina or Lion, AA could dish out a ton of damage and often take down an enemy thanks to Ice Blast Shatter effect well after AA's death. All of AA's spells have fairly short casting animation, so it's quite possible to chain these spells in succession. Keep in mind that AA has no innate stun and a weak slow, and without the aid of teammates, AA is free goal for most gankers. Be careful when traversing through the jungle solo or during nighttime without proper war vision. AA plays a unique role in teamfights. Before the teamfight actually begins, Ice Vortex can be spammed all over the place, providing slow, magic resist reduction, and more importantly, sight. As the teamfight occurs, AA provides a barrage of spells and item activations, granting much utility for the team. Seek out targets that will be harmed the most by Ice Blast's damage and its debuff. It can be used on high priority enemies that the team needs to get rid of as soon as possible, taking advantage of the instant shatter effect of Ice Blast, or it could be used over several heroes to prevent or stop healings from spells and items. At end of fights, Ice Vortex makes a great chasing weapon, and if Ice Blast has not been used or has already been cooldown, it serves as a great sniping tool. There are few heroes that have as wide of an arsenal of spells as AA does for teamfights, and even if AA is underleveled compared to the enemy carries, he can provide insane amount of disruption during fights. Like many other supportive casters and utility heroes, AA's choices and items are seemingly limitless. Of course, one large issue to address first is his feral frame and mana problems, but beyond that, AA can select a wide range of items to fit the needs of the team. In addressing both his mana and survivability items, Urn of Shadow, Force Staff, and Arcane Boots is a fine set of items for AA to obtain. Urn of the Shadow provides the basic necessities, the extra health, the subtle mana regen, and even subsequent healing for allies. It also gets a special mention due to its great interaction offensively with Ice Blast, as the 150 HP loss on enemy combines fairly well with the Shatter effect. Force Staff and Arcane Boots are fairly flexible items to be used offensively or defensively, providing the team an extra layer of utility in mobility and mana regen. Should AA have the extra farm, defensive items for the team such as a Mechanism or Pipe of Insight are always great. These items make AA innately more survivable, and since AA's playstyles usually keep him on the backlines, he can safely activate these items to aid the team. Despite the hefty mana cost for these items, the positive benefit that these items provide for the team is irreplaceable, and is well worth the mana cost to activate. A Drums is also a great team-based item, and its build-up provide heavily in both health and mana, making it yet another great choice for AA to consider. Extension or luxury items include Eul Scepter, Rod of Atos, or even Scythe of Ice. Even though all of these items help AA set up his Cold Feet stun, do not buy these items simply for that purpose. At the stage of the game of purchasing these expensive items, Cold Feet has long lost its dominance in the game. Instead, treat these items as they are, great utility items for the team in chasing, disabling, or escaping. Of course, since AA's core items are very inexpensive, he can provide a constant stream of Observer Wards, Sentry Wards, or Smoke of Deceit should he be playing the main support for the team. With this in mind, a suggested AA item build can be Since the individual parts of these items are so inexpensive, there isn't a particular order in obtaining them, so purchase them as the situation calls for. As simple as the core items are, they cover a great deal of situations and will fit throughout all stages of the game. Of course, the utility items after the core depends on the game state and should be adjusted accordingly. The flexible skill and item build should reflect on main goals of Ancient Apparition. He's a great hero in filling up gaps of the team and provides what the team needs. As such, a successful AA player requires good understanding of the game and plans ahead in both skill and item choices. Furthermore, due to the global nature of Ice Blast, a constant awareness of enemy's hero's position as well as the creep equilibrium is important. Should you fire off the Ice Blast to stop a push on the outer tower, or save it for a teamfight that could possibly break out at any moment? Learning the many different cases is important to playing a great AA. Another difficult factor to AA's play is his mana pool. If AA is positioned properly and is casting as many low cooldown spells throughout the game, he'll find himself being out of mana fairly frequently. Depending on his inventory, there may be items that provide mana regeneration or items that further drain his already small mana pool. There are teamfights where AA can only cast several spells, and deciding what these spells will be comes from experience and knowledge of the game. In conclusion, AA is sort of a jack of all trades when it comes to spell casting. Range, utility, damage, disable, AA's man of all these shops. Stay back and stay alive, and have fun playing Ancient Apparition. I had a lot of fun making this guide, and I hope you guys learned something from it. My next guide is going to be on one of the more fun heroes of Dota 2, the Anti-Mage. And of course, if you guys want to check out my older guide, the Alchemist, here's a link to do so as well. If you'd like to help me improve these guides, please leave some constructive criticisms in the comment section below. And of course, if you want to support me, please subscribe and like this video. And that's it for now. Until next time, this is Luminous, signing off. See you guys.